Captain Aidan Ross had always thought humans were brave, but he had never expected to feel fear in the capital of another world. The Andarian Empire was vast, with cities that touched the sky and technology far beyond anything on Earth. The planet's capital, Virelia, was a mix of silver towers, glowing walkways, and gardens that floated mid-air. For the first time in human history, Aidan was here to negotiate an alliance between Earth and the Andarian Empire, a mission that could decide the future of both species. Aidan stepped off the sleek shuttle and onto the landing platform. He adjusted his formal uniform, feeling suddenly very small under the bright alien sun. Around him, palace guards stood like statues, their multi-jointed limbs moving with perfect precision. Their eyes were large and reflective, glowing faintly in the sunlight. No one spoke to him. He could hear only the soft hum of distant machines and the occasional metallic clang as a palace servant moved across the hall. "Welcome, human," said a smooth voice. Aidan turned to see Chancellor Vaynar, the Emperor's chief advisor, bowing with sharp elegance. "The Princess Lyria awaits your arrival. She has agreed to see you personally." Aidan's pulse quickened. He had prepared for this moment for months, studying Andarian customs and learning their language. He knew the protocol. Humans were supposed to bow, speak only when spoken to, and never ever make direct personal remarks to royalty. But he also knew something else. Humans had a unique trait that aliens often found confusing: honesty, mixed with boldness. The palace doors opened, sliding apart silently to reveal a hall unlike anything Aidan had imagined. The walls shimmered with embedded crystals that shifted colors, reflecting light like liquid. Floating lights hovered overhead, creating moving patterns on the polished floor. And at the far end of the hall stood Princess Lyria, alone. She was unlike any alien Aidan had ever seen. Her skin shimmered in shades of violet and silver. Her eyes were immense, glowing softly with an inner light. Her hair, long and flowing, moved as if it had a life of its own. She wore a robe of delicate metallic threads that caught the light, with every slight movement. But it was not her beauty alone that made Aidan pause. It was her presence. Regal, untouchable, commanding. The hall was silent except for the faint hum of machinery. Aidan swallowed hard and stepped forward. Every inch of him screamed caution, yet a small, reckless part of his mind whispered, "Say something real, something no one dares." The moment their eyes met, something strange happened. Lyria tilted her head slightly, as if studying him, and Aidan felt a chill. The entire court had warned him. The princess was untouchable, feared, and revered. To speak casually, to joke, or to compliment her in the wrong way could bring disaster, but then he did it. "You're gorgeous," he said, his voice steady but soft. The words hung in the air. At first, nothing happened. Then gasps echoed throughout the hall. Aidan felt dozens of eyes burning into him. He realized he had broken every rule of Andarian etiquette, but he couldn't look away. Then, it happened. Lyria blinked. Her knees bent, and she collapsed forward. Guards rushed to steady her, but even they seemed frozen by shock. No one had ever dared speak to the princess like that. No one had ever made her falter. Aidan froze, unsure whether to step back or forward. But Lyria's voice came, trembling yet melodic. You said, gorgeous?" "Yes," Aidan replied, taking a careful step closer. "I meant it. You shine. I've never seen anything like it." For a moment she looked at him as if trying to understand. Then slowly she straightened with the help of her attendants, her glowing eyes locking on his. The air was thick with tension. The court whispered among themselves, but Lyria raised a hand. The murmurs stopped. "You are bold," she said finally. Her voice was soft but firm, carrying authority. "Bold and reckless. No human has ever said such a thing to me." "Why?" Aidan smiled faintly. "Because it's true. I've read about your people, your history, your culture. But I wanted you to know something simple, something honest. You are incredible." Lyria studied him, and for the first time her expression softened. She stepped closer, her eyes never leaving his. Earth human. You speak without fear. Curious. Dangerous. I prefer courageous, Aiden said, keeping his tone light. He wanted her to see that humans could be kind, clever, and brave, not just naive or weak. The court was silent. Guards shifted nervously. Even Chancellor Vaynar's face betrayed a flicker of disbelief. No human had ever dared speak so freely to the princess. Some whispered that it could spark a scandal, others that it might mark the beginning of a new era. Lyria finally laughed. It was soft, musical, almost like a bell ringing in a quiet hall. The sound caught Aiden completely off guard. You make me laugh. That is unprecedented. I'm glad, he said, feeling a warmth in his chest. He had expected anger, not laughter. If a human can make a princess laugh, maybe we can also make peace. She looked at him for a long moment, her eyes reflecting a mixture of curiosity and intrigue. Perhaps. She straightened her robe, regaining her usual composure. Tell me, human, why do you speak without fear? Every other envoy bows, every other human trembles. Why not you? Aiden thought for a moment. Because humans know that courage isn't just in battle. It's in honesty. We take risks with words as well as actions, and sometimes, the truth is the bravest thing we can offer. Lyria's gaze softened further. I have never encountered such honesty. Most seek favor. Some seek power. You speak freely, without strategy. Interesting. The princess's attendants exchanged nervous glances, unsure how to respond. Aiden realized he had shifted something in the court, something subtle but important. He had not only survived this meeting, he had made an impression. Chancellor Vaynar stepped forward, clearing his throat. Princess, shall we proceed with the formal introductions? Lyria shook her head gently. Not yet, Chancellor. Human. Remain. I wish to know more about you. You have courage. I wish to understand it. Aiden nodded, feeling a rush of excitement. I'd be honored. The rest of the afternoon passed in a surprising blend of curiosity and laughter. Lyria asked questions about Earth, about humans, and about life beyond her empire. Aiden answered carefully but honestly, sharing stories of exploration, discovery, and human ingenuity. He could see her eyes light up with wonder, and he realized something profound. Admiration, given honestly, could bridge worlds. As the sun began to set over the palace, casting the floating gardens in soft orange light, Aiden knew this encounter was only the beginning. He had survived the impossible first impression, and in doing so had sparked something new. Trust, curiosity, and perhaps even friendship. Yet even as they walked together through the shimmering corridors, Aiden felt a shadow behind the beauty. Not everyone in the Andarian Empire would welcome this change. Some would see his words as an affront, a threat, or worse. But for now, as Princess Lyria laughed freely and shared her thoughts without fear, he knew he had made history. No human had ever dared speak to the princess like this. And she had collapsed, not from anger but from shock, wonder, and perhaps a hint of admiration herself. For Aiden Ross, the adventure was only beginning. The morning sun cast pale violet light over the floating gardens of Virelia. Captain Aiden Ross walked beside Princess Lyria along the winding walkways that hovered above the palace's central courtyard. The plants glowed softly, as if the air itself carried energy. Birds with iridescent feathers flitted from tree to tree, making musical sounds unlike anything on Earth. Despite the beauty, Aiden could feel the weight of the court's eyes on him. Every step, every word was being judged by alien observers whose loyalty and intentions he could not yet trust. Lyria's expression was calm but thoughtful. You speak boldly, Earth human, she said. I have seen many diplomats, many envoys. All of them bow, all of them speak carefully. You do not. Why? Aiden smiled faintly. Because humans are simple sometimes. We tell the truth. We show courage in words as well as actions. It is part of who we are. Lyria tilted her head. Courage in words. Interesting. I have never seen that before. Most of my court fears words. They fear displeasing me. Some even fear praising me incorrectly. Your honesty, it is unusual. Aiden paused. And it seems unusual that you collapsed when I complimented you. Most rulers would have been angry or at least indifferent. Her violet eyes sparkled. I have never been called such a thing, not even once. The court only praises achievements, strategy, and power. To hear admiration for appearance, it was strange, confusing. I do not know how to feel. Aiden nodded. I imagine it is confusing, but perhaps it is also pleasant. Lyria smiled faintly, a small curve that seemed new and unpracticed. Yes, it is pleasant. She paused, looking at the floating gardens below them. Humans. You are very different. You do not fear me as others do. You speak freely even in my presence. Why do you not fear punishment? Because sometimes the risk is worth it, Aiden said simply. If we cannot speak honestly, how can we ever build trust? They walked in silence for a few moments, the soft glow of the garden surrounding them. Then Lyria turned to him, curiosity clear in her eyes. Tell me of your world, human. What is Earth like? Aiden's eyes brightened. Earth is full of life. Forests, oceans, mountains, cities and people of every kind. Humans have made mistakes, yes, but we also create, explore, and invent. We learn from each other, and sometimes we do great things because we care about one another. She listened intently, her head tilted slightly, as if drinking in every word. And humans trust one another? You cooperate? Most of the time, Aiden said with a grin. It is not always easy, but even when we fail, we try again. We admire courage, honesty, and cleverness. That is what makes us strong. Lyria's eyes glimmered. Cleverness, honesty, courage. Qualities not often valued in my court. They value order, strategy, and obedience. You value different things. That is strange, but also intriguing. As they continued walking, Aiden realized that this was the first time anyone in the palace had spoken so freely with Lyria. Most people treated her like a statue, perfect but distant. He could see the relief in her eyes, the subtle relaxation of her shoulders. For the first time, she was not a princess on a pedestal. She was a person. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed through the palace. An assistant appeared, hovering slightly, above the ground carrying a crystalline tablet. Princess Lyria, the assistant said, bowing deeply. The council requests your presence immediately. They wish to discuss recent events. Lyria's smile faded slightly. Very well. She turned to Aiden. Stay with me. I do not wish to face the council alone. Your presence is reassuring. Aiden nodded, hiding a small thrill of pride. Of course. I am honored. The council chamber was a vast space of polished silver and translucent panels. Alien advisors sat around a glowing circular table, their forms tall and elegant. Their eyes shimmered as they regarded Lyria and Aiden with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. Aiden could feel the tension immediately. Chancellor Vaynar cleared his throat. Princess Captain Ross, he said, his voice precise and cold. The court is concerned about recent events. The humans' words, though bold, have created unease. How do you explain this behavior? Lyria lifted her chin. I see no reason to condemn honesty. He spoke freely, without strategy or fear. His words were genuine. A murmur rippled through the council. One advisor, her skin a deep shade of indigo, leaned forward. Princess, humans are unpredictable. They cannot be trusted. Boldness may be entertaining, but it may also invite disaster. Why would you allow such behavior in your presence? Lyria's eyes narrowed. Because truth and courage are not dangerous. They are rare, and they inspire loyalty and respect. Aiden noticed the slight shift in the council's demeanor. Some were shocked, others intrigued. The Andarian court was not used to anyone defending a human, much less praising boldness. He felt a small surge of pride for his species. Humans may not be the strongest physically, but their courage and honesty could win respect, even in a foreign empire. The session continued with discussions about the upcoming alliance negotiations. Aiden answered questions, careful to remain diplomatic but honest. He spoke of Earth's intentions, of human values, and of the mutual benefits of cooperation. His words were unconventional, but the council could not deny their sincerity. Afterward, Lyria led him to a quiet chamber overlooking the gardens. "You see, human," she said, "not everyone in my empire will welcome this change. Some fear humans, some fear the unpredictability you bring, but I find it refreshing." Aiden looked at her. "I understand. And I also know that trust takes time. Humans are patient, we adapt, and sometimes we take risks to show that we are reliable." Lyria's violet eyes softened. "I wish more of my advisors thought like you. Most value only strategy, obedience, and control. They do not see a heart." Aiden smiled. "That is something humans understand well. Heart can change minds, build bridges, and even save lives." She looked away, gazing at the floating gardens. "I wish I could bring more of my people to see things as you do. Perhaps one day. But for now, you are the first human and the first being to speak to me without fear. That is significant." "I am honored," Aiden said, "and I promise to respect your world, your culture, and your people, but I will also speak honestly as I must. That is who I am." Lyria considered him for a long moment, then nodded. "Then, we shall see what humans can teach us. Perhaps there is more to courage and honesty than I realized." As the day passed, they walked through the palace, sharing stories, exchanging ideas, and laughing quietly. Aiden discovered that Lyria had a sharp mind, a clever sense of humor, and a curiosity that rivaled his own. She asked questions about Earth's history, its cities, its inventions, and its people. In turn, Aiden asked about her culture, her childhood, and her thoughts about the empire she would one day lead. Despite the beauty of the palace, Aiden could sense the underlying tension. Not all of the court would accept this new perspective. Some advisors would see him as a threat. Others might attempt to manipulate Lyria using fear or politics. But for now, the princess seemed genuinely interested in his world and his perspective. As evening fell, the floating gardens glowed softly under the twin moons of Virelia. Lyria turned to Aiden. "Tomorrow, we will meet again. There is much I wish to learn from you, human, and perhaps much you will learn from me." Aiden nodded. "I look forward to it. Every moment here is remarkable." She smiled faintly, her expression serene but thoughtful. "And every moment may be dangerous. Be prepared, Earth human. Not all in my empire will welcome your courage." "So I am prepared," Aiden said with a steady smile. "For humans, courage is part of the journey, and I believe the journey is worth it." As they parted for the night, Aiden walked to his quarters feeling a mixture of excitement and caution. He had made an impression on the princess. He had shown that humans were honest, brave, and capable of daring where others would not. But he also knew that cultural tensions ran deep. Some of the Andarian advisors would see him as a threat. Some might even act against him or the princess. Yet despite the risks, he felt hope. He had learned that courage, honesty, and genuine admiration could bridge worlds. And with Princess Lyria's curiosity and openness, humans might find allies in the most unexpected places. The first day of their journey together had ended, and for Aiden Ross it had already become the most remarkable day of his life. The next morning, Virelia glimmered under a pale blue sky. Floating gardens swayed gently in the breeze and soft hums of energy fields filled the air. Captain Aidan Ross was already awake, reviewing the palace layout and security protocols in his mind. Despite the palace's beauty, he felt a tension he could not ignore. Humans had faced threats before, but nothing had prepared him for the subtle danger that simmered beneath the court's polished surface. He entered the palace's central hall, where Princess Lyria awaited. She was seated on a raised platform, her posture straight, her glowing eyes fixed on a series of holographic displays. "Good morning, Earth human," she said, her voice steady, yet carrying a hint of concern. "Today will not be simple. I have sensed unease within my council. Not all of them welcome your presence." Aidan nodded. "I expected that. Some may see me as a threat. Some may fear change. But fear alone cannot win against courage and honesty." Lyria's lips curved slightly. "Then we shall see if your words hold true in action." She rose gracefully and gestured for him to follow. They walked through a series of corridors, each lined with shimmering panels that displayed the history of the Andarian Empire. Stories of great leaders, victorious battles, and technological triumphs were etched in light. "My empire values strength and strategy," Lyria explained. "But I am beginning to question whether these alone are enough. Perhaps other qualities such as courage, loyalty, and honesty may be just as important." Aidan smiled. "That is why humans often surprise others. We take risks in ways no one expects. Sometimes our thinking seems chaotic, but it can create new opportunities." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert. The palace security system had detected unusual movement in one of the restricted wings. Lyria's violet eyes narrowed. "This area should be empty. Investigate." Aidan and a pair of Andarian guards moved quickly toward the wing. As they approached, they found evidence of tampering, slightly displaced security panels and faint energy traces. Someone had attempted to access restricted chambers. "This is not ordinary curiosity," said one guard. "Someone seeks access to sensitive information. Perhaps an attempt to undermine the princess." Aidan's heart raced. "Then we need to find out who and why. And quickly." Returning to Lyria, he explained what they had discovered. She listened carefully, her expression serious. "There are those in my court who fear change. They fear humans and they fear my openness to new ideas. This may be an attempt to manipulate me, or to discredit Earth's presence here." Aidan nodded. "Then we should be cautious and prepared. Humans often rely on creativity and quick thinking in dangerous situations. Perhaps it is time to show that courage and cleverness can work together, even here," Lyria agreed. "We shall not reveal panic. We must act with calm and intelligence." Over the next few hours, they quietly investigated. Using a combination of Andarian surveillance technology and Aidan's human intuition, they traced the movement to a group of advisors loyal to the old traditions. These individuals feared humans and resented Lyria's openness to outsiders. They had tried to plant false information to sway her decisions and potentially sabotage the alliance. "This is worse than I thought," Lyria said quietly. "They seek to control the empire through deception. They believe fear and strict obedience maintain power." Aidan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Then we must show them another way. Humans have survived and thrived by thinking differently. Sometimes being bold and honest is the best strategy." Lyria nodded. "Then we shall act Earth-human." Together, they devised a careful plan. Instead of confronting the conspirators openly, they would observe, gather evidence, and expose the plot to the entire council. Aidan suggested using a combination of Andarian technology and human improvisation, recording secret communications, decoding encrypted messages, and tracking movements through hidden corridors. Lyria was impressed. "Your methods are unconventional, but effective." For 2 days, they worked in secret. Aidan taught Lyria how to use small tools to detect hidden surveillance devices. Lyria showed him how her court communicated silently through subtle gestures and holographic signals. Together they began to unravel the conspiracy. Each discovery revealed the depth of fear and ambition among certain advisors and the courage required to challenge them. During one late evening, as they reviewed their findings in a quiet chamber, overlooking the city, Lyria spoke softly. "You are unlike any human I have imagined. You face danger without hesitation. You trust in honesty and courage." Why? Aiden thought carefully. Because humans know that hiding from truth or fear rarely solves problems. Sometimes, the boldest path is also the safest in the long run. Courage is not just bravery. It is action guided by honesty. Lyria studied him for a long moment. Then, perhaps humans and Andarians are not so different. We value courage too, but we hide it behind strategy and hierarchy. You remind me that true strength can be simple, clear, and direct. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden alert. One of the conspirators had attempted to access Lyria's private chambers. This time, they were caught in the act. Aiden and the guards moved swiftly, cornering the intruders before they could escape. The conspirators were defiant, claiming loyalty to tradition and accusing humans of corruption. Lyria faced them calmly. "Your fear blinds you. You seek to manipulate the Empire through deception, but your actions are known. Your loyalty is questioned. You will answer for this." The council was summoned immediately. Using the evidence Aiden and Lyria had gathered, she presented the case against the conspirators. Every recorded message, every trace of tampering, and every witness statement was laid before the council. The room buzzed with tension as advisors debated the validity of the evidence. Then Lyria spoke, her voice steady and commanding. "You see now that deception and fear cannot maintain power. Courage, honesty, and wisdom are stronger than secrecy and manipulation. The human has shown me this, and I now ask, will you continue to serve the Empire with integrity, or will you cling to fear?" A silence fell over the chamber. The conspirators were forced to acknowledge their actions. Some admitted guilt, while others remained defiant but powerless against the weight of evidence and Lyria's authority. Aiden watched quietly, impressed. Lyria's courage was undeniable. She had faced not just physical danger, but political danger, and had shown leadership unlike any he had imagined. He realized that humans and Andarians, despite their differences, shared a capacity for bravery that transcended culture. After the council session, Lyria and Aiden returned to the gardens. She seemed contemplative. "You have done more than protect me, Earth human. You have shown me that courage and honesty can reshape a court. This is a lesson I will not forget." Aiden smiled. "We did it together. Humans often work best in partnership. Trust, respect, and courage. Those are our strengths. And now perhaps they can be yours too." Lyria's violet eyes reflected the soft glow of the gardens. "Yes, perhaps. I see now that change is not weakness, it is potential. Potential for growth, for progress, and for unity. Humans, you understand this in a way my advisors do not." Aiden chuckled softly. Sometimes it takes a little human boldness to open eyes. For the first time, he felt a sense of true partnership with the princess, not as a diplomat to a ruler, not as a human visitor to an alien court, but as two individuals working together to protect and improve the Empire. Yet, as they walked among the glowing plants, both knew the threat was not entirely gone. Some advisors remained defiant and others watched silently, waiting for another chance to strike. Danger lingered, subtle and hidden, but their bond and their courage had created a strong foundation for whatever came next. That evening, as the twin moons rose over Virelia, casting silver light across the palace, Lyria turned to Aiden. "Tomorrow we must continue our work. The Alliance must progress, and the Empire must see the value of courage, honesty, and openness to change." Aiden nodded. "Then we move forward together. Humans have faced worse odds, and I have faith that with your leadership, we can succeed." Lyria smiled faintly, a quiet mixture of determination and curiosity. "I am beginning to believe this. Earth human, You have shown me a path I never considered. Let us see where it leads. And so, as night fell over the floating gardens, a fragile but powerful alliance of courage and honesty was forming. Aiden Ross and Princess Lyria had faced the hidden threat together and had begun to show the Andarian Empire that trust, boldness, and partnership could create change stronger than fear. The real journey, they knew, was only beginning. The palace of Virelia was calm at first light, but the serenity was deceptive. Captain Aiden Ross stood at the balcony overlooking the city, his eyes scanning the horizon. The floating gardens glimmered in the morning sun, but something in the air felt wrong. Alerts from the palace security system had grown frequent overnight. Someone was planning something bold, and Aiden's instincts told him it would not wait for another day. Princess Lyria approached silently. Her violet eyes reflected a mixture of determination and worry. "Earth-human, I feel it too," she said softly. "The council may have been pacified, but there are forces that do not yield to logic, courage, or honesty. They may act today." Aiden turned to her. "Then we need to be ready. Humans have faced impossible odds before, and we survive by thinking differently, acting quickly, and staying calm under pressure." Lyria nodded. "Then we shall act together. I will trust your judgment as we face what comes." By mid-morning, the warning came. Palace sensors detected a fleet of small attack crafts entering the city's orbit. The rebel faction, undeterred by the council's earlier defeat, had launched a direct assault. Their ships were sleek, fast, and heavily armed. The palace defenses were sophisticated, but Aiden knew that their greatest strength lay in strategy and improvisation, not sheer firepower. "Princess, stay here," he said firmly. "I need to coordinate with the palace defenders." Lyria shook her head. "No, you are not facing this alone. We are stronger together. We will lead the defense, side by side." Aiden smiled. Humans thrived on courage, but few expected alien royalty to act in the same way. "Very well," he said. "Then let us show them what collaboration can achieve." The first wave of rebel craft struck within minutes. Energy shields flared, repelling the initial assault, but the rebels were persistent. Aiden noticed a pattern in their approach, subtle but consistent. Using a combination of Andarian sensors and human intuition, he quickly devised a plan to counter their attack. "Princess," he called, "we can divide their forces by creating false targets. Use the holographic decoys along the eastern perimeter. It will draw their ships into a trap." Lyria nodded, issuing rapid commands to her loyal guards. The palace's advanced holographic system sprang to life, creating multiple illusions of the palace and its defenders. Rebel ships took the bait, and Aiden guided the palace fleet to intercept. The battle was chaotic. Explosions lit the sky, and the hum of energy weapons filled the air. Yet Aiden's calm voice over the communication channels kept everyone coordinated. "Trust the plan. Move in sequence. Focus on strategy, not panic." Lyria demonstrated leadership unlike any Aiden had imagined. She directed her loyal troops with precision, adjusting to the rebels' tactics on the fly. Her presence inspired those around her. Even human soldiers unfamiliar with alien command systems followed her guidance with ease. As the battle raged, Aiden spotted a small group of rebel operatives attempting to infiltrate the palace itself. Using hidden corridors and energy fields, they aimed to capture Lyria and turn the tide of the battle. "Princess, they are inside," Aiden shouted. "We need to stop them before they reach you." Without hesitation, Lyria activated a protective field around herself and the inner chambers. "Follow me," she ordered. Together, they led a strike team of human and loyal Andarian guards into the palace's internal corridors. The rebels were prepared for resistance, but they underestimated the combination of human ingenuity and Lyria's strategic mind. Aiden directed the team through alternate routes, bypassing traps and ambushes. "Left here, then up the stairwell. Trust me, they won't expect this path." The rebels were caught off guard. They had expected a predictable defense, but Aiden's unconventional tactics and Lyria's precise commands created confusion. Within minutes, the infiltrators were surrounded. Lyria faced the leader of the rebels, a tall Andarian with dark blue skin and sharp, calculating eyes. "Your rebellion ends here," she said firmly. You sought to undermine me and this empire. Your actions have failed, and now you will answer to the council," the rebel leader sneered. "This is not over, princess. Humans are clever, but your empire is weak. You cannot change it in a single day." Aiden stepped forward. "Perhaps not in a single day, but courage and teamwork can overcome fear and deception. Today proves it. Today humans and Andarians can work together." The leader was taken into custody, and the remaining rebels retreated to their ships. The palace defenses, reinforced by Aiden's strategies and Lyria's commands, had held. The battle was won, but the lesson was clear. Unity, courage, and ingenuity were more powerful than fear, tradition, or brute force. As the sky cleared and the city began to recover, Lyria and Aiden walked through the palace gardens. The glow of the floating plants reflected in their eyes, but neither spoke immediately. They both understood the magnitude of what had just occurred. "You were incredible," Aiden said finally. "Your leadership inspired loyalty, even in chaos. Humans can learn a lot from your courage." Lyria shook her head slightly, a faint smile playing on her lips. "And you, Earth human, have shown that courage is not bound by species. You acted quickly with creativity and calm. You reminded me that sometimes the boldest action is also the wisest." They paused near a fountain that shimmered with violet water. "This alliance," Lyria continued, "must continue. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but they bring something valuable: honesty, courage, and ingenuity. Perhaps we can shape a new future together." Aiden looked at her, feeling a sense of accomplishment and hope. "I believe we can. Today was proof. Humans are not perfect, but we adapt, we learn, and we act when it matters most. That is our strength." Lyria's expression grew serious. "Yet we must remain vigilant. There are others who will not accept this alliance. Some will plot in secret, waiting for another chance. But now they know that courage and honesty are not weaknesses. They are strengths." Aiden nodded. "Then we prepare for the future. Together, humans and Andarians can face whatever comes, and we will win, not by fear, but by trust, creativity, and bold action." As the sun set over Virelia, casting soft silver light across the floating gardens, the palace recovered from the chaos. Soldiers returned to their stations, repairing defenses and tending to minor damages. Citizens who had witnessed the battle from a distance marveled at the cooperation between humans and loyal Andarians. News of the defense spread quickly, inspiring admiration and hope across the empire. Lyria turned to Aiden as they watched the city below. "You have done more than defend me, Earth human. You have shown the empire that humans are not to be underestimated. Your presence has changed perspectives already." Aiden smiled. "And you have shown that leadership is not about fear or control. It's about courage, wisdom, and the ability to inspire others. Together, we make a strong team." For the first time, Lyria allowed herself to relax completely. She realized that change was possible, even in a world steeped in tradition. And humans, with their boldness and honesty, could be allies in a way no one had imagined. As night fell and stars began to shine over Virelia, the palace was quiet but alert. The battle had ended, but the journey was far from over. Lyria and Aiden knew that future challenges awaited, both from within the empire and beyond. Yet they also knew that together, they could face anything. Aiden looked at the glowing gardens and the serene fountains, feeling a sense of purpose. He had come to Virelia as a diplomat, but he had become something more: an ally, a strategist, and a bridge between worlds. Lyria placed a hand on his shoulder. "Tomorrow, we continue. There is much to do to secure the alliance, to strengthen the empire and to inspire trust. But tonight, we have shown what humans and Andarians can achieve together. Remember this moment, Earth human. It is the start of something greater." Aiden nodded. "I will remember, and I will work to ensure that this alliance grows, stronger with every challenge we face. Together, we can create a future where courage, honesty, and ingenuity guide the empire. The floating gardens shimmered under the twin moons, reflecting the hope of a new era. A human and an alien princess had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. Their courage had not only defended the palace, but had begun to change the hearts and minds of those who witnessed it. And for Aiden Ross and Princess Lyria, the adventure was only beginning. The morning after the battle, Virelia looked calm, but the air was charged with a sense of change. Citizens moved through the streets, whispering about the courage of the princess and the human who had helped defend the palace. Floating gardens glimmered in soft sunlight, and the fountains shimmered with the violet water that reflected the city's resilience. Captain Aiden Ross walked beside Princess Lyria through the corridors of the palace. Today they were not just defenders, they were symbols of a new future. "The Empire watches closely today," Lyria said, her voice steady but thoughtful. "The court will decide whether humans are allies or a threat, and your actions will be remembered." Aiden nodded. "Then we must show them that courage, honesty, and cooperation are stronger than fear and tradition. Humans have faced worse odds and have thrived by working together. We can do the same here." Lyria paused at the palace balcony and gazed at the city below. "I have made a decision, Earth human. Today I will address the council and the citizens. I will speak openly of the alliance, of courage, and of the value humans bring. It is unprecedented, but it is necessary." Aiden smiled faintly. "Then let us prepare. Honesty and sincerity are powerful tools. We only need to speak clearly." The council chamber was filled with tension. Advisors whispered among themselves, some curious, some wary, and a few still loyal to the old traditions of fear and strict hierarchy. Lyria stepped forward, her violet eyes glowing softly, and Aiden stood beside her. "You have seen the events of the past days," Lyria began, her voice calm but commanding. "Our empire has faced danger, and we have survived. Not because of fear or deception, but because of courage, strategy, and cooperation. Today I wish to speak openly about the value of partnership, honesty, and trust." The council fell silent. A few skeptical advisors exchanged glances, unsure how to respond to a princess speaking so freely. Aiden watched closely, noting how Lyria's words carried authority yet also inspired respect. "Humans," Lyria continued, "have shown that courage is not just physical strength. Courage is honesty, creativity, and the willingness to act even when the outcome is uncertain. Captain Aiden Ross has demonstrated these qualities, and for that, he has earned the respect of this court and of me." A soft murmur spread through the chamber. Some advisors looked surprised while others seemed impressed. No one had ever dared to speak of humans in such terms, and no princess had publicly praised someone from another species. Aiden stepped forward. "I am honored, Princess," he said, keeping his voice respectful. "But it is not just about humans. Today we have worked together, Andarians and humans, to protect the palace, the empire, and the people. That is the true lesson. Cooperation can overcome fear, deception, and danger." A wave of whispers moved through the council. Some advisors nodded slowly, recognizing the truth in his words. Others remained skeptical, but could not deny the evidence of their own eyes. The alliance, once uncertain, now had legitimacy. After the council meeting, Lyria invited Aiden to walk through the city with her. Citizens gathered along the streets, eager to see the princess who had faced danger and survived. Many had heard of the human's courage and bravery. Children waved at him, and some adults bowed respectfully. The people's admiration was clear, and Aiden realized that humans could earn respect not just through words, but through actions and integrity. "This is remarkable," Aiden said, smiling as he waved to the citizens. "Humans have learned that respect is earned, not demanded, and apparently so have the citizens of Virelia." Lyria laughed softly. "You have brought more than courage to this empire, Earth human. You have shown that honesty and bravery can inspire others. My people are beginning to see that humans are not weak, as some feared. We are capable of friendship, trust, and partnership." As they walked, advisors approached, seeking guidance and counsel. Lyria and Aiden answered questions, discussed strategies, and even shared ideas for reforms. It became clear that the old ways of rigid hierarchy and fear-based loyalty would need to change. Citizens deserved leaders who valued courage, integrity, and cooperation, not just obedience. By evening, the palace gardens glowed under the twin moons. Lyria and Aiden returned to the balcony, watching the city below. "The council has accepted the initial proposals for reform," Lyria said, her eyes reflecting the soft violet light. "We will encourage transparency, merit, and respect for honesty. Humans have influenced this outcome more than anyone else." Aiden nodded. "And that is what humans do best. We face challenges with creativity and courage, and we help others see new possibilities. This is just the beginning. Together, humans and Andarians can achieve more than either could alone." Lyria smiled. "Yes, and I have learned that admiration is not weakness. Trust and respect are stronger than fear. I will lead my people with this knowledge. And you, Earth human, have taught me much." The next days were filled with work and preparation. Lyria held meetings with advisors, guiding them toward the reforms that would strengthen the empire. Aiden assisted, offering insights from human experience, always careful to respect the Andarian culture while introducing new ideas. Together, they implemented programs to recognize courage and honesty among soldiers, scholars, and citizens. Young Andarians were encouraged to speak freely, innovate, and collaborate with humans and other species. Slowly, a cultural shift began. Fear and secrecy no longer dominated the palace. Instead, trust and respect became the foundation of leadership. During one evening in the gardens, Lyria turned to Aiden. "You have changed much more than the council or the citizens. You have changed me. I understand now that courage, honesty, and partnership are not weaknesses. They are strengths that build trust, inspire loyalty, and create progress." Aiden smiled. "And you, Princess, have shown that leadership is about more than command. It is about courage, wisdom, and the ability to inspire others. Together, we have made a difference, and the empire will be stronger for it." As they walked, a soft breeze moved through the floating gardens. The lights of the city shimmered below, and for the first time in centuries, the Andarian Empire felt like a place where courage, honesty, and cooperation could thrive. Lyria stopped near a fountain and looked at Aiden. "Earth human, you have earned a place not just as an ally but as a friend. Your courage and honesty have changed my perspective, and I hope one day the Empire will recognize humans as true partners." Aiden felt a warmth in his chest. "That is the greatest honor I could ask for. Humans and Andarians, working together, can create a future where respect, trust, and courage guide decisions. That is how empires thrive." The twin moons reflected in the violet water of the fountains, casting soft light on the princess and the human who had dared to speak honestly and act boldly. Citizens, advisors, and soldiers had witnessed courage, cooperation, and ingenuity in action. And as word spread throughout the empire, admiration and respect for humans grew. That night, as Aiden prepared for rest, he looked out over the city, feeling a sense of accomplishment and hope. He had arrived as a diplomat, uncertain of how humans would be received. He had faced fear, danger, and political intrigue, yet through honesty, courage, and creativity, he had earned trust and respect. And Princess Lyria, once untouchable and untamed by human words, had begun to see that courage and honesty were powerful forces that could inspire change, strengthen alliances, and guide an empire into a new era. In the days that followed, humans gained official recognition. As allies, programs were launched to promote collaboration, and the empire began a slow but steady cultural transformation. Lyria continued to lead with wisdom and bravery, and Aiden remained by her side, advising, learning, and demonstrating the value of human ingenuity. Together, they had proven that even the smallest gestures, honest words, courageous actions, and mutual respect could change the course of history. And so a new era began, an era where humans and Andarians could stand together, not through fear or obedience, but through courage, trust, and the willingness to embrace the unknown. Captain. Aiden Ross had come to Varelia as a visitor. He remained as a friend, an ally, and a symbol of what humanity could achieve when courage met opportunity. Princess Lyria had come to understand that admiration and respect were not weaknesses. They were strengths that could guide her people into a brighter, more hopeful future. And together they had begun to build a galaxy where honesty, bravery, and cooperation could shine across the stars.